The next poem I will read is entitled Ode to Ignorance. It was inspired by an essay I once read by an author whose name I have forgotten in praise of ignorance. The poem makes reference to two poems I greatly admire by Jared Manley Hopkins, the great 19th century poet and Anglican priest. The two poems referred to here are The Windover and Pied Beauty, two of my favorite poems, which I wish I had time to read to you. Here is a poor substitute, Ode to Ignorance. I yearn for reverence so I could write the Windover, dream on, the finest crafted of all poems. Instead, I am blessed with ignorance, which makes the bear fish in summer and sleep all winter. I am more bear than priest, searching for berries, each one a meager feast, a mere morsel of truth. Curiosity killed the cat, even the one with 9 lives, looking for who knows what out of ignorance, not bliss. Take my neighbor's cat called Bentley, a Burmese, I think, who stuck his curious nose into any stranger's face, including Gilead, the dog next door, who was adept at killing groundhogs, raccoons, possums, squirrels. This was a dangerous place to be, but somehow he got away with it so far. Somehow, so far, so have I. Without ignorance, I fear there can be no curiosity. Without curiosity, I swear there can be no questions. Without questions, there are no answers. Without answers, there is no knowledge. No knowledge, naught but ignorance. No ignorance, no truth. No truth, no beauty. So I sing my song in praise of ignorance, the next best thing to pied beauty. Nearly 30 years ago, Marnie and I made a trip to Japan for a scientific meeting and to spend some time getting to know Japan. The following poem consists of 5 haiku depicting the trip out and the trip back and the feelings of being there. It is entitled Orientation. Flying west compressed the seething dawn and drew the long, thin day to gold. Rising sun was one with ashen moon, fusing blue yin with crimson yang. Dying swan upon the placid view saw mountains in the morning dew. Steaming tea can be a sprout like bamboo, greening in the heart of me. Squeezing light from night paints 2 dawns on the pallid face of homeward flight. In addition to the 1st of January, another new year we celebrate occurs in the days preceding Rosh Hashanah, a time of introspection and repentance, and the subsequent Jewish festival of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. These are the Jewish high holy days, which are some of the most meaningful and spiritual to me of our religious calendar, in part because, as a member of the choir, I am able to participate in the performance of the beautiful Hebrew music that characterizes these holidays. It is during these holidays, on September 10th, 2001, that I was inspired to write the following poem entitled Atonement. There comes a time in this man's waning life when quiet desperation dark descends and every fiber of him wants to make amends for all transgressions still creating strife. We are the only species here on earth who know we live and have to die, and spend our lives inventing demons to defy while keeping up our strange capacity for mirth. Solar flares are crashing on the shore of rocky discord as we dig the earth and sift through shards of broken psyches, rent and rift by infidelities eroding to the core. All this chaos came in humankind to be, along with consciousness that came with fire and its cousin conscience following desire to fill the void of loneliness with rhapsody. A picture painted is an image disassembled. Even procreation creates imperfection, since each one of us is faulty at conception. A poem parsed is merely truth dissembled. But if we knew we're flawed, we would be freed from seeking consummation of our greed. Instead, we would forgive ourselves and find atonement, true surcease, and peace of mind. I'm going to read a poem entitled The Clown, which was inspired by two people to whom the poem is dedicated. One is the Reverend Matthew McNaught, who served as interim minister of USG before Kent Mathias became our minister. Reverend McNaught preached a sermon about the importance of levity, humor, and clowning for religion that intrigued me. The other person who inspired this poem was my longtime friend and colleague, Dr. David Mills, a brilliant English scientist with an unconventional sense of humor and a rebellious nature, whose family created the Cyril Bertrand Mills Circus, the British equivalent of the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus in the United States. So he was not a stranger to the art of clowning. David's voice is heard intermittently throughout this poem, The Clown. He sidles over to me on a sun-drenched noon, obliquely and with an indirectness of purpose, as if to say, "Don't be so serious about all this. I only want to make you laugh and cry in the same exhalation." He beseeches me with his huge incarnadine lips, the color of living flesh, and rouged cheeks bleeding with pathos into his dead white face. "Take it upon yourself to don my outside shoes, silly suit, and apple red nose, and play the only one able to poke fun at the king and keep his head." His deep-set, darkly circled eyes mime his story. "As soon as I was born, I slipped into my harlequin skin like a fool riding backwards on an ox or an ass, or a coyote playing the trickster. He entangles me with daydreams, embellished with grace, holding up his magic mirror so I can see myself saying, "Verily I say unto you, except as you become a holy fool, you shall not enter the kingdom of life."